Um, to save our time, I'll just be explaining the the whole process from this video. Good evening. My name is Engineer Ma, and I'm taking us on drilling, contract, um, and contract management, and petroleum. All right. Now, typically, this is what happens at the beginning stage of the drilling process. Usually, we have the oil deposits in a particular point, and then we have seismic process and surveys carried out on the potential field. And then how do we do this? We send in signal, sound waves. These sound waves also are reflected. The reflections are interpreted, and interpretation rather is used in determining the um, presence of depth or in the earth crust. All right. So after then, before the process of installation. All right. Now, installation of the drilling rig. So this is what happens. We determine the best position for the intra, for the installation of the rig, which will be if at a strategic location that will be able to give us a vertical fitness access. So a vertical access, I hope you can hear me, a vertical access to the reservoir. All right. It is where that, although there are cases where that is usually not possible, we come to that, the kind of drilling that um, is done in such a case. All right. So this is the rig that you can see that is installed, and then we have um, the hole that is drilled down different diameters at different points till we get to the uh, deficit. All right. Most times it's as deep as 6,000 meters. Um, sometimes it's even more than that. We've seen some cases where it gets to 11,000 and even more. Okay. All right. So now we have different components of the rig. I'm starting from the derrick, which is the visible part of the drilling rig. For instance, it's usually like a metal tower, um, like tens of meters high. Something almost like how your mat looks like the mat. Yeah. Something of that nature, but bigger or thicker, and sometimes even higher. All right. So so hear me? Sorry, I believe that was the network issue. I think we're back now. Alright, so if you can hear me, that's the first. I'll take that back quickly. Um, the first one is the hoist support, okay, and then the hoist support is what you see up there. This labeling quickly. Then we have drilling, the drilling. We have the mobile hoist. We have the hoist support, the mobile hoist. Then we have the hook that is just beneath the mobile hoist. The injection head. Then you have the mud injector column. The mud injection column is gotten from this point to that. So this red line is the mud injection column. All right. Then we have our rotating feed table. Uh, then we have our draw works here, somewhere around close to the base. We have the draw works. We get to know more about them as we proceed. Then here we have our engine. This is the engine room or the control point of the engine. And then we also have the mud pump. Remember, we said this line is the mud injection. This point here is the mud pump. Usually mud is pumped into the, so we have, that's the drilling tray. This is the drill tray. Underneath, the drill train carries the drilling bit. The drilling bit is a tip, like a heated metallic form that helps in drilling as it rotates. It drills the earth crust, um, the the earth layers, it drills through the strata. Okay, all right. Then we have our cement retainer. We have our tubing. Uh, the tubing. If you notice, the cement retainer and the tubing are very close. Just a thin line between them, and they are just between themselves. All right. Then we have the drill stem, and finally the drill bit, which I talked about earlier. So when we talk about, all right. So this is just an illustration of how the mud is taken into the uh, the channel, the drilling hole, and then it helps to create more assets as for accessibility, and also um, make it easier for the drill bit to penetrate that surface. I'll come back to this shortly. So let's talk about uh, let's go back to class. All right. So in this class, an introduction to um, this program, and today's class specifically is a discussion. It's more like a discussion or introductory class. Right. In our next class, we'll talk more on on this aspect of shopping, and as well talk about um, other aspects of this course. Okay. Now, some of the things that we need to talk about here. Why do we need to drill well? And the life cycle of a well. excuse me, well design and construction, rig types, handling of rigs, and the rest of them. I will run through it. I'll be as I'll try and be I'll try and be as fast as possible. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to be projecting your assignment along with it. Alright, let me see if I can fit that into pages so that we can, while I'm talking, you can also be doing your assignment and taking it down. Alright, the assignments are going to send. I need to quickly say this because of the time that we have. Alright, your assignment is going to be sent to engineeriman.jpts@gmail.com. And OGM, the subject of the mail is going to be OGM 315 hyphen assignment one hyphen the name of your center and state. All right, so we put that in that format. All right, so we'll come back to this shortly. Now, why do we? What's the gain? What's the gain in um, or the purpose? What's the reason we need to drill well? The fact is this: the crude oil that we have buried in the surface and every other component that comes with it can never. I'm sorry, that we have buried in the earth underneath earth first at the reservoir or, or at the reserve, the oil reserve can never come to the surface if they are not drilled out. All right, we cannot see crude oil existing anywhere except we have to drill it out to the surface. All right. Now, so drilling a well is the only access to a reservoir and establish what lies in it. Okay. Now, each well is a multi-million pound project. Usually, a lot of money is pumped into getting this well. Discipline are involved. It's a huge project in drilling a well. Each well is unique as each individual person. You know, the well you have in Bayelsa, in maybe southern India, or maybe somewhere in Karamabri, in South Ido local government, will not be the same well you have in Ulegi or somewhere in Imo State and all that. Okay? So they are all unique in their own. Um, Now, to introduce hydrocarbon or support their production through the injection of gas and liquid. All right, like we saw in that video earlier. Right now, in the construction, we drill. The well is created by drilling a hole, which is by isolating with casing and cement, repeating the process until the target depth is reached, like we saw in that video earlier. All right. Now you can see we have to drill down until we get to the target point where this oil line. All right. So but we don't just start drilling. Like I earlier explained through that video. We don't just start go to any point and start drilling. No, you first carry out technique surveys and the rest of them. Do some survey and some inspection to get the location, the exact point where this thing is before we start installing and rig to drill um, this oil to the surface. All right. Now, well performance and integrity are continually monitored in this process. This routine, the routine maintenance is also performed. The performance of the well, how well this, um, how much of its productivity is given to. Now, even before talking about performance, we also need to first have estimated or prospected the lifespan of this well. The video I was playing earlier, there's a point around where we talked about continuous some level of monitoring that is done, yes, to get the reading by the time the hydrocarbon is rising to the surface. You see this gauge here. to monitor the flow rate and all that. So it's not just even an act of seismic survey alone that we determine the content. We also do another check, and this monitoring is always continuous. You can see some gauges uh, that are mounted here to check for the flow rate, check for the pressure that is coming out with, and a lot of other information that we usually have to gather in the process. All right. Now, when the carbons are found, and if the pressure is sufficient to allow them to come to the surface naturally, the driller do a flow check. That's what it is. And the oil is allowed to come to the surface during several days through a calibrated code. So that calibration means putting a kind of measuring or reading system to know the level to which the level kind of control or reading or monitoring. All right. Okay. Um. So, okay. Back to now some terms that you need to get acquainted with test. When we're talking about testing a well may produce temporarily to establish what now reservoir potential. We do that testing of the well to check the lifespan of the well. I was talking to a class earlier, I think that was yesterday, and I was talking about a project a company went into and they contracted an NS17 company to do the construction there. And in the process, they have gone ahead to do, they have gone ahead with the construction uh, of their platform, their offshore platforms, their the rigs and the rest of the construction was going on. A lot of money was being pumped in there, only for them to later discover in the process while construction had already started offshore that I mean, offshore onshore that on site on the land while work was already being done. They later got to discover that the lifespan they estimated earlier of that well was not exact, was not accurate, was not even commercially viable enough for them to continue with such well. And that kind of marked the end of um, that well because the IOC, the company, though a Nigerian owned company that were the client, had not done their job thoroughly. All right. So we have some some other. Now this is how this is a typical. Let me see if I can make this bigger. A little. I hope you can see this clearly. Now this is more more like what it looks the casing and all. These are the casings that you have in the during drilling. You have the wellhead installed um, on top of the surface casing to cap. It's usually installed on top here. Another name for the wellhead is Christmas tree. We call it Christmas tree. The combination of different uh, outlets or the valve outlets that will be installed or mounted on the structure of the well so that from various channels we can get an output of this product. Okay. Now, the conductor is isolates on consolidated surface formation and sev- it may take structural loads too. Now, typical 36-inch hole to contain 30-inch conductor. So if you can, let me make this a little bigger so you can see it better. All right. So here we have the drive or structural casing. That's the one that is outside. Then after that we have the surface casing. Then we have the intermediate casing. Now within this place, that's where you have the cement casing. And then we have inner the liner tie back casing. That's this one here. And then we have the production line casing, which is the one inside the, the main casing that is inside. Okay, and then we have reserve. All right. So our production liner is a set of is set across the reservoir into the production casing. It's usually within 8.5 inches hole for a 7-inch liner. Those are specifications that are standard. Okay. So this picture here represents a typical form for this um, of a rig. What happens in a rig? There's another picture like this that I would have got to show more quickly. Okay. Yeah. All right. This picture too. This is an example of a site or a rig site. This is what happened. This is a true life picture. All right. Of what happens in the rig. All right. Now there are several types of rig. Several types of rig. And uh, they vary in depth, they vary uh, in their reach and in their uses too, or the kind of location that they can be used. All right, we have them ranging from the land rig platform, the jack up, semi-submersible, drill ships, tension legs, and the rest of them. Now there is still a further classification for this rig. Yeah, that's it. See, another one. So also have what called the FPSO. The FPSO means floating storage, processing and offloading. All right, FPSO. They are usually like ships. Those ones can be moved to any location offshore as they move to any location offshore where the drilling process can occur there and can be carried out through an FPSO. And then you can also have storage happening there. You can also have um, the processing and offloading. So that offloading is to either maybe the refineries or seller points and all that, um, as the case may be. All right. Now here you have a draw works or rotary table. This is how it looks like. I talked about draw work earlier. Then um, let me see. Can I make this let me make this a bit broader so we can see it clear. You can see a clearer view. Good. So this is a crown. This is what a crown block looks like. And we have the derrick that we talked about. The derrick is the metallic structure of the rig. You know, rises up to 10 of 10,000 feet or some 10 hundreds of feet, as case may be. You know, sometimes it could be higher than some. It could be as high as almost a skyscraper, 11-story building or 12-story building. You know, it could be that high. All right. Then we have the traveling block. The traveling block. We have the civil. We have the standpipe. Now, each of these components have their. This is the engine. In the video we had earlier, the engine was on the right hand side, right hand side. So it depends on the point of view. The why the mud pump, our mud pit and our mud pump. Usually that mud is pumped into at a point it's pumped into the drilling pit for ease of for the ease of for the purpose of making it easier for this drilling bit to continue to drill the hole and also for us to be able to get the product out. All right. Now the cement, this casing here and the cementing is usually to prevent the collapse of this well. Imagine if a well is being dug and at your or is being drilled and as you are drilling around here begins to collapse. That's already a big loss in itself. Okay. So to avoid that, we do some we introduce the cement casing. All right. So the draining fluids, the what function of this draining fluid is one to control the pore pressure. Then another function is to stabilize the well bore and also transport cotton from the drill bit to the surface. Now, why do we have to do that? As the drill bit is drilling here, we discover that these particles can be accumulating around the drill bit, so we still need to transport it to the surface. All right. So in doing that, we introduce it. Now, why the mud the function of mud pump is to power the drilling fluid and also provide power to the mud, all having their various functions. Okay, so this is the way it looks eventually. All right. Now there are some terms that I would want you to also go and study. Now I'm talking about uh, blowout, talking about some things I've mentioned. The drill. Okay, I've talked about the derrick. I've talked about here. But I'll be giving you this assignment, which you have to submit. Sharing the assignment. I'm sharing the assignment. Sharing the assignment. Right. So, the first question in the assignment is for you to list the type of drilling platform stating their depth range. How deep? Then you explain the following. Explain the following. So I hope you can see. I can hear myself. I hope you can see the screen. All right. So then FPSO. Now you can take a screenshot of it. Please ensure that your assignment is sent in latest 4 days from now. That's latest 4 days from today. Engineering, engineering math, the JPS at gmail.com. And the subject will be ODM 315 hyphen assignment 1 hyphen the name of your center and the state. First question is type of drilling platform stating their depth. These all types of drilling platforms stating their depth. They explain the following: planting, source rock, cracking, blowout, drilling mud, well casing, derrick, conductor, FPSO, and wellhead. Okay. Then list and explain the types of agreement in the oil and gas industry. I want you to read this ahead. Okay? And the advantage, disadvantage, and advantage of each. I'll take it here. So read that ahead. Then there's an acronym discuss. Let me take this one. Sorry. Discuss in details the process of crude oil drilling. Discuss in details the process of crude oil drilling. Discuss in detail the process of crude oil drilling. Now read up the following before the next class or do a little research on this for the next class and also write on them whatever. So you're going to do a summary we're going to summarize this. The rule, read out from this class and summarize. So we're going to read them up and summarize before the next class. Rule of capture, contractor selection procedure, and importance of petroleum economy. The rule of capture, as regards oil and gas, and then contractor selection procedure, and importance of petroleum economy. Please, you can take a snapshot of the screen so that you don't um, you don't make any mistake. All right. So, God willing, we'll continue from here in the next class. Please stay safe. Ensure you practice social distancing. Ensure you also practice good personal hygiene. Thank you, and God bless you.